Hey, g'day everybody, Mark here. I'm going to show you something today that I think you're going to get some value out of. Why? Let's look at this scenario. You know, when we go to the shops and we buy food, say we buy a packet of food, whatever. Now there's a law to say that whatever's contained within that food, it's actually, you look at the back of the packet and it'll itemize what's in that food. What are you actually eating? All the bad stuff and all the good stuff. But do we have that sort of thing when we go and buy our vegetables, when we go and buy our carrots, our apples, our celery, our beetroot, our oranges, our lemons? Do we have any idea what it contains, or do we make the assumption that we know what it contains? And I know what it is for most people. We make an assumption because this day and age, everything's our purchasing decisions more often than not are based on how they look, our visual perspective. If they look good, they look nice and colourful, and look nice and plump, and look like we're getting some value. Well, that's what we base our decisions on when we do buy our fruit and we do buy our veggies. You know, you go into any shopping centre, any supermarket. You know, with the fruit section, you can have a look at the lights. They have different coloured lights because they're actually making the fruit and vegetables look more healthy, look more better, look more fresh. Okay, but can you imagine? Can you imagine if you were able to actually use a very simple tool? And I'm going to explain that tool in a minute. That you can buy it. Something I used in the clinic to analyze urine and saliva. Can you imagine if you had a tool that you could use, you could take with you to be able to get a much better idea and comparison in regards to, I wonder how much, I wonder if this apple or this apple has more minerals, one or the other has more or less minerals than the other. The level of nutrition, the minerals and the sugars within that fruit or within that vegetables, remember sugar and minerals come together. Okay. Can you imagine? Can you imagine the power of that? Can you imagine being able to compare that? Can you imagine going to a market and being able to say, whoa, look, there's a stick of celery over there, and that stick of celery, it's $5. Looks really good. Beautiful. Nice big bush of celery. It's nice and green. It looks nice and fresh. It looks really good. Whereas you might look across to another store and you say, oh, they've got celery over there, but that's $7. And it looks scrawny. It doesn't look so fresh. It doesn't look so scrawny or whatever. It doesn't have that visual appeal. So what do most people do? Well, they're going to go to the $5 one and they're going to buy the $5 one because it looks really good. But the big question is, did the $7 one have more nutrition in it, more minerals in it than the $5 one? And that's where we really need to start looking at, because we've got to remember when we buy food, the only reason we're buying food and we're eating this food is because of the nutrition that we need to extract from it. You know, obviously the sugars, the protein, the minerals. This is why we buy the food in the first place. So when we buy vegetables, we're not buying something that just because it looks good. We're buying it because we want to get the nutrition from it. And therefore, wouldn't it be good if we could actually have a good idea about, well, does it contain minerals or does it contain much? Okay. Now I'm going to put a table. You'll see a table come up in a minute, which will give you something you can actually use to be able to buy one of these little pieces of equipment, which I'm going to show you in a minute, and be able to gauge for yourself, because I've done this many times. Okay. And I'll go back to the celery and use that as an example. Okay. I've gone to the $5 one, and what I've taken is this tool here. Some of you already know what it is. It's a refractometer or a Brix meter. What is a Brix meter? It's a tool. Let's say I know they use it in winemaking, but farmers use it. Farmers use it to know when to harvest the crop. Why? Because being a refractometer, because it actually refracts light. What does it refract light on? Well, let's take a sugarcane farmer, for instance. So a sugarcane farmer goes, well, I need to gauge where's my crop? Do I need to harvest now, or I'm pretty close to harvesting? So what it'll do, it'll get a little bit of sugarcane, and it'll get a crusher or something and squeeze some juice and actually put the juice on this little glass plate here. Close that off and push that down. And what happens is actually you look through this little eyepiece at the front, And you'll see there's a gauge there, and I can't show you, but it doesn't matter. You'll see when you look at some of the pictures. And what it does, it gives them a reading. It tells them, well, yeah, we've got good mineral level, we're in good sugar level, we're ready to go, we're ready to harvest, or we don't. Okay, there's a certain number you're going to look for, and like I said, that's going to be in the table that I'm going to add to this video a little bit later on. So what you can do, you can buy these things. You can buy these things on Amazon. You can buy them for about $25. Okay, this is what I did. Well, I brought it from my clinic, but I took it out to the market as well. Okay, so you can imagine now I'm going to take this to the market, or I'm going to take it to the shops. I'm going to test. I'm going to have a look at the fruit and the vegetables and just have a bit of a feel for what am I actually getting. Okay, because you'll find a lot of fruit and a lot of veggies are very, very low in minerals. Okay, so you need to be able to compare. But actually even testing some frozen foods, you'll be surprised. I did it many, many times. I tested actually the frozen vegetables compared to the fresh vegetables, and actually there are more minerals in the frozen than there was the fresh. And there's a good reason for that, because I harvest them a little bit later, because I go straight into the snap frozen as compared to sitting around and ripening over time. You've got to harvest them a little bit earlier. You're not going to get so much nutrition, not so many minerals. So going back to the celery example, can you imagine now being able to go to the $5 one and go, like, have a look? Oh yeah. Well, geez, there's not much in there, is there? Okay, just check. What am I buying? And you go over to the one that's $7. You got to have a look. You got to, whoa! There's so much more. There's a much more higher scale. There's a much more higher Brix reading, and therefore there's more minerals in there. And then you can start comparing. Well, based on $7 compared to the $5, and based on the increased degree of nutrition and minerals in that, it's actually cheaper to buy the $7 one than it is the $5 one, because you're going to get more out of it, more nutrition. Remember, that's the only reason why you're eating it. Okay, so it's just something you can do. You can take one of these, buy one off of Amazon or wherever you can get it from. The Amazon, you just Google it, you'll find it. And get a little garlic crusher or something like that. That's what I used to do, a little garlic crusher. And you could go, say you go to the market. It's a bit hard to do in supermarkets. I've done it in supermarkets. In supermarkets, you just break a little bit of, say, carrot off or something like that, and crush it in the garlic, and you actually get the juice, and actually put the juice on there, have a look. And if you get pulled up, I'm just checking what I'm buying. I don't know what I'm buying. You're selling me a carrot, but I don't know what's in there. What does it contain? There's no ingredients list. Okay, or you can do it at the market. You can take it to the market. You just go around. Maybe you buy a carrot, maybe you buy an apple, maybe you buy some celery, and you just break a little bit off, put it in the garlic crusher. Just buy a little bit, crush it down, have a look, and being able to compare, so that when you buy it, you actually know what you're buying. You're actually getting what you think you're getting, as opposed to buying something just because it looks good. Okay, we don't want to buy stuff just because it looks good. We don't want to move away from that. It's ridiculous when you think about it. You wouldn't go and buy a packet of food without having a look at the ingredients, would you? And yet you go and buy fruit and vegetables without knowing what's in there, because there's an assumption that they're the same, and they're not. Check the Brixometer out, or Brixmeter, or the refractometer. A couple of words, you'll find them, okay? And let me know. Let me know how you go. I'll be really interested. But do it, please. This is all about education. It's all about taking responsibility back. It's all about taking control over what you're sticking down your throat, instead of making assumptions that can lead to all sorts of problems down the track. Have a good one.